So when you're alone, you have to realize by being alone, it gives you an opportunity to grow. And you don't want to use that time to dwell on your mistakes. You don't want to use that time to actually look at what other people are doing all the time. Because if you start to look at what other people are doing all the time, it's really hard for you to do the things that you want to do. And that's how I'm going to start this video. Because some people, they actually are in your life right now, but they don't want to see you win. You have to be careful of what you're doing, and you have to be careful of what you say to people. Because, for example, you don't want people to use what you're saying against you, but then you have to make sure that what you're doing, you don't rub it in people's face. Some people are actually jealous and they want what you have, but they're not willing to put in the work that you did. And the thing is, when you're jealous, you start to want what someone else has, and you want to take it from them just so that you have something to beat them at. And that's the thing, because some people, they just want to rub it in some other people's face. It's mostly competition, it's mostly an ego thing. It's like, I have this now, but you don't. And you don't want it to get to a point where you're jealous of people, that you're willing to do anything just so that you can take what they got and you can have it for yourself. You don't want to be that type of person. Instead, for example, you may be working hard on something for yourself, and it may take you longer because not everyone is the same. But then if you're jealous of what someone else has, you realize that because you're jealous, you start to hate the person. When you don't want to see people win, it's because you do hate the person. And you don't want to hate the person, you want to just work hard on yourself. And when you're working hard by yourself, you start to realize that the things that you want, it takes a longer time. But you're being honest with yourself as well, that you're like, you can put in more hours to get to where you want to be. You can put in more hours to then work on something. Because, for example, like, if you want to work hard on something and you realize that you're doing the same thing over and over again and it doesn't work, you can then try something else, or you can ask someone that's already achieved it of how they did it. Because the thing is, you don't want to be jealous of what people have. You want to instead ask them how they got to where they got to. And when you ask people how do they do it, most people are willing to actually tell you of how they did it. Most people are willing to be brutally honest with you. And that's what you really want as well. Because if you realize that it's taking you longer to get to where you want to be, sometimes it's out of your control. But that's why you need to focus on the things you can control. Sometimes it's really hard to tell if people want to see you win. Because you need to realize that these could be your close friends, these could be random people. But then you need to realize as well, this is why you need to be very selective of who your friends really are. If you keep telling people everything and you don't have boundaries, you don't want it to get to a point that people start to use what you're saying against you. And you don't want to just do things just for other people. You want to do things for yourself. So that's why when you ask people how did they get to where they are, you just ask them so that they can give you a direct answer. And the thing is, you need to put in the work for yourself. Because when you put in the work for yourself, you can say that you actually worked hard towards it. You don't want someone else to do the work for you, because they are the ones that are learning. And when they're the ones that are learning, they are the ones that are gaining the skills, they're gaining the confidence. And the thing is, while you're letting someone else do the work for you, you realize that you don't learn it for yourself and it can hold you back. And when people don't want to see you win, they start to see you as competition. Like, everything you do and everything you say, they are always like thinking that you are against them rather than you and them together. Because you need to realize that if people are working towards a common goal, both people can grow together. You need to realize that if you can't work with people towards a common goal, then you both won't grow at all. Because one person is trying to grow, but the other person is trying to bring them down to where they are. And you don't want it to get to that point where people start to bring you down. So that's why you need to be selective of who you're around. Because if everything is one-sided, you need to make sure that the friendships and the relationships that you have, because it's not just friendships, but it's also relationships. But you have to make sure as well that people, they actually help you grow, and people ask you questions. Basically, you want it to be where people ask you questions and they learn from you, but then you learn from them as well. And it's not a one-sided type of connection. Because if it's one-sided, it's mostly what the other person wants. And you don't want to be that person where you don't want to see other people win. Because, for example, if you hate someone, all you can do is just ignore them instead. Because if you ignore them, you don't want to give people that time and energy. And you don't want to hold grudges against people. If people start to project where they say that you can't do this because they can't, And for example, people say that they hate you. Sometimes people don't even tell you as well. Because for example, if people don't tell you of how to improve, sometimes they generally don't know, but sometimes they don't want to see you improve because they don't want to see you win. And that's why you need to be careful as well. And what I wanted to say, when it comes to winning, it doesn't mean that you're winning against other people. It doesn't mean see everyone as competition, that you're always winning. You have to see people as equal. You need to treat everyone the same. What I'm trying to say, you need to treat everyone equally, and you need to treat people the way that you want to be treated. Because if you treat some other people above you, you start to put people on a pedestal, and then you start to get jealous of them. But if you treat people beneath you, you don't really respect people. And sometimes as well, you need to realize that people are where they are because of circumstances. It's not really because of their ambition or their work ethic. But some people are just lazy. And that's why as well, you need to just like let people do what they want to do. You treat people how you want to be treated. And all you can do is really help people. But you only help people if they want to help themselves. You can't help someone that doesn't want to put in the work. And I was going to say that people that don't want to see other people win is because they always see them as competition. They see them as like someone that they're always up against. And if it gets to a point where you can't say anything to people or you can't do things with other people, then you just simply have to like remove them. And the thing is, sometimes people are there just silently watching, but if they don't support you in any way, like sometimes they don't always have to be the one to reach out to you. Sometimes you reach out to them, but if they just like don't support you in any way, you just need to take that as a sign to give them space. Like sometimes people do need the space to actually heal themselves. I'm just saying that I'm just giving people advice, and you should take this video how you want to, but just make sure that if people don't want to see you win, that it's not always on you. But just be aware that if you achieve something, that there's no need to brag, like the work speaks for itself. That is all I really wanted to say in this video. You just need to be around people that are like-minded, people that ask you questions, people that want to get to know you more, and you need to choose people that choose you as well. So yeah, that's all I got to say, and I'll see you in another video.